I always feel very jazzy.
It'd be great hold music.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get rid of it now. Oh, very nice.
Oh,
nope. Let's stop that one. Oh my goodness. We might have to just start over. No, we're not starting over because we are on time. So welcome everyone. If you are a first-time joiner to this discussion around connection and collaboration, you may not know who I am, and you may not know our guest, but I'm Stacy Statterman. I'm CEO and founder of a boutique consultancy called Statterman Strategic Advisory. We're the leading experts in executive communication and cross-team collaboration. And we advocate for collaboration, maybe even more so than we did just a few months ago, because we know collaboration and connection, which really go hand in hand. Those best practices unlock so many of the results that we want for ourselves, we want as business leaders, we want as community members, industry leaders. We want to get stuff done, and the pathway to get more things done in better form is, in our estimation, very, very strongly linked to great collaboration and connection habits and practices. So I'm excited to have somebody who has come on for a number of live streams with me before on a variety of topics. 20 years, she reminded me, that we have been colleagues, friends, collaborators ourselves. And I'm welcoming my dear friend, Zovig Garboushian, who's based in Seattle. Yeah. So thank you, Zovig. So I'll do a little bragging in a way. Zovig brings so many different talents to the table, and we met in a different time for both of us professionally, and always had, I think, a connection and a recognition that we might have, been in another life together. I feel like neighbors. Probably. or something, siblings or whatever. Zovig is an amazing leadership coach and an amazing supporter of pretty much anyone who needs support. Zovig is your person. She recently told me that coaching is been a calling, and I sort of challenged you on that just a couple minutes ago, because I think when we first started talking about that being a professional pursuit, it wasn't landing somehow, and you will probably talk about that. But let me fill in a few other blanks. Zovig has lived in East Coast, West Coast, North and Southeast Coast, West Coast. I've done some of that geography right or wrong. You're a first generation Armenian woman who grew up straddling two cultures, which we've talked about mostly privately, but has undoubtedly informed a lot of the work that you've done to support other people as they try to make sense of things that don't always make sense. You teach yoga. You are a creative. Look, I had to go transparently. I had to go put on a new sweater because I'm like, look at Zovig go. I'm going to fade into the back of my own live stream. So I put a little pop on my outfit here. Good reminder to check that. So I did a borderline job in introducing you. Tell people a little bit more about the facts of what you do and how you work with us at Statterman Strategic Advisory.
Yeah. So, the nuts and bolts of what I do are coaching, training, advising, leadership development, and sometimes a combination of consulting and coaching. It can look a little different depending on the scenario, but essentially I'm in it for the people. That is what I'm in it for. I'm in it for the people, and I'm fueled by equal parts heart and outrage.
I love that.
I've always said that I came out raising my fist in declaration about something, and I think that my special sauce as an individual is that I have always just a little bit of outrage in how we are in this world, and how all of the things we don't see about who we are as people that make us individually great and spend just too much time as people, as teams, as groups, as businesses, thinking we've done things wrong or not good enough or we don't have enough and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, we actually have plenty. right where we are, no batteries included because they're not needed, no assembly required. And so I feel like my calling is to help whoever, not whoever, but to help whoever is attracted to me in the way I do things.
Mhm.
Peel that back, peel back the programming.
Peel back the
Just peel
programming. I love
peel
that.
back the
I love it.
programming. Yeah.
And so I love the recognition of a little bit of outrage as a fuel source, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and it feels. I mean, I'm sure you're feeling. We're on different coasts. I'm sure you're feeling. You know, maybe a more well, certain feels like a more pronounced sense of rage among some people,
Mm-hmm.
and for other people not so much. And well, obviously, we have tons of examples of that in terms of the political landscape. But I'm curious, what are you seeing in terms of spillover into the workplace? Because that's primarily where we do our work
Yeah.
together.
I think I see more self-doubt and questioning, and that just the feeling of scarcity, that there's not enough. More,
Mm,
it's more pronounced than I think I've ever seen, and that I experienced in my first career. You know, you and I started out in media and advertising, and
mhm,
certainly, you know, we were in sales and marketing, so it was always more. We have to do more and more money and sell more, and so there's some level of kind of scarcity and in that, but I feel like it is stronger and more pronounced and more powerful than I've ever seen it. And the way it's hitting individuals is really in their guts, in their heart. I'm just, whether I'm training, coaching, or just talking to, you know, potential clients or just peers and colleagues in the industry, people are tired. And I don't just mean like, oh, I'm so tired. It's like in their bones, there is emotional fatigue, there's physical fatigue, there's intellectual fatigue, because not only do we have our own feelings, but then we have to go perform in these jobs. And the way that we're evaluated in our performance is on how fast we do things and how much money we make as a result of how fast we do things. And and then we question who we are in that process, because someone is always saying to us, this is not good enough. We
mm,
can do better. What can we work on? How can we improve? Here is some feedback for how you can get better. And it's not to point the finger at any one person or any one institution. It's just kind of the design of how things are. And I think the design of how things are, these big companies, the design of these big companies, the hierarchies aren't working the way I don't know that
mm,
they ever worked personally, but I don't think the hierarchies are doing what they were meant to do. And I think we're as individuals, we're just getting compressed and compressed and compressed. And I don't know that people know which way to turn or what's true or what's right and who they are in relation to these experiences at work. Like, who are we in this work I'm doing? Who am I in this work I'm doing? Who are you? Who are the people who are going to work at Google? You know, and
right,
what are
right,
they
right,
doing? Like, who are they in relationship to their work? And I think those
right.
are the questions I'm seeing coming up. Who am I in this work?
Right. A lot of what you say echoes with things I've seen personally from people and here just, you know, from friends and family, et cetera. And it seems like there's no respite place, like across the spectrum of pretty much everything. There's like some kind of messiness or unexpected thingamajig. Because you know, most if you're in business long enough, you go through mergers, you go through
Mhm.
downsize, you go through those major disruptors, which aren't pleasant. And you know, the first time or two it happens, of course, you feel like the world's going to end, and then you get through it, and you realize, oh, you know, actually, I got through this, or it worked out better than I expected. But the it seems like you put all those sort of things which are happening as companies do what they do, especially on the as AI is unpacking faster
Yeah.
than ever. The but you can't, when you go home at night and you put the news on, or you look at the store, you go to the store and look at the prices of groceries or whatever. It's like, oh wow, this is also disrupted. And you know, where am I going to get that rest,
Yeah.
that fatigue that you mentioned?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just the where am I going to get that rest? I just think that's a really pervasive question right now. I just need some rest. But then there's the, do I have the luxury of having rest? Can I actually take the time? Is a week of vacation enough? What do I really need to get the rest? I mean, now all of those, I just feel like we get into that place where it's like it's never quite enough. How do you reset when you're in such a deep level of hyper performance and fatigue? I just don't know where that comes from. Anyway.
Yeah, no, and I think the thing that what you just shared brings up, as I reflect on it, is and it goes back to the topic of these talks that I'm hosting. The connection with others and the impact that has either negatively or positively in dealing with those experiences we're having or those doubts that we're having. And I'm curious, we in our pre-conversation talked a minute or two about the change in the level of available trust.
Mm.
What are you seeing as you work with people who are dealing with the juggle, the fatigue, where is the place that I can rejuvenate, renew myself, etc.
Yeah, well, the you said the change in the level of trust, and I think that trust is something that we're lacking a lot of right now. I don't, and I see trust as very multidimensional. I think that there's the trust that we have in others and things outside of us. There's the trust that the things outside of us have in us, and then I think the core foundation of trust is the trust we have in ourselves.
Mm.
And I do think that the greater the trust we have in ourselves, the greater our ability to trust outside of us, but also feel okay not trusting for good reason.
Oh, say
Being
more,
just
say more, say
Yeah,
more.
well, when I trust myself, right, I'm
Hmm.
listening to my inner wisdom, my inner level of intuition, my all of the experiences that I've had that I've learned a great deal from, and depending on how, witchy you want to get, like past lives, all of that stuff, I can go in that direction. But let's just stick with, our experiences and our intuition. Um, I think when that increases, we're able to know more intuitively what and in whom we are able to trust and why. And if we can't and should not trust in something, we're okay with saying, I don't trust that, versus I don't know, and questioning it, is this okay? And should I trust? And how does this make me feel? And doing that whole song and dance about whether or not we should waste our time with something. Right? I think when we know who we are, we always know who we'll be no matter what happens.
Hmm.
And no matter what comes at us from the outside, no matter what's said about us or given to us. And I'm not, me, I'm not puppies and rainbows, and I'm like, it'll all work out and be okay. That's not where I'm coming from with it. I think understanding the level of trust that we have in ourselves and building that trust in ourselves takes work and attention and intention to do that. And it takes a certain level of discipline and discernment to tune in instead of tuning into everything around us. It's really
Oh,
hard with all the noise. There's
yeah.
so much noise. No wonder we're so damn fatigued, because there's so much information coming at us 24/7. I mean, I've even struggled hanging out on LinkedIn lately because I'm like, oh, everybody's an expert. And are we really all experts in this stuff? Like, we know some stuff, but like I'm like, is this the way? Is this the way? Is that right? Is that good? And it's really easy to get confused and then forget what we know internally. And I think in business and when we go to work, we're being told this is the way, and this is how we do it. This is how we want it. This is how it's supposed to look. So our trust with ourselves can get shaky, and then that prevents us from saying, hey, actually, I don't know if this is the right way.
Mm.
I think maybe we should try this instead. Have we ever considered this? And just feel okay about that without feeling like you're going to get punished or ridiculed or made wrong. And maybe you will. Maybe you'll get punished. I don't know. I can't say for sure. Some places definitely are not psychological safe spaces, but even so, just knowing, like, I have a different idea about this, and
Yeah.
I'd like to give it a shot and not question it so much.
So I want to go back to something that you mentioned about doing the work of building and renewing maybe trust in self.
Uh-huh.
What sort of How do you help people, you know work on that, because that's not something you can just flip a switch.
No, it's not. I mean, I'm still learning how to do that within myself too, in full transparency, right? That's a lifetime of work. But I think um, one of the things is to help them identify where they currently are. Like, what do you think about this right now? Like, what is the belief you're operating from? What's the truth you've
Mm.
got about this? And just naming it, because we don't spend a lot of time naming our stuff, naming our emotions, naming our beliefs about things, right? We just go from thing to thing to thing to thing, because I got deadlines and I got to get this done and push it out the door. But I think when we stop to actually reflect what we're thinking, how we feel about something, it provides a lot of clarity. And just reminding, whether that's groups or an individual format, you have the right to pause and slow down. You have the right to take 5 minutes before replying to a Slack message, to calibrate
Imagine.
your right, to
Yeah.
calibrate your thoughts, to calibrate your message. Does it even need a response? And does it need a response by you? And does it need a response right now? Like, we have the right to do that, and yet we forget. And so if we can give ourselves just, I mean, this is nothing revolutionary when I say take a freaking pause. Like, every coach in the world will tell you that, right? But the fact that I still coach in some of the stuff, and that I still deal with individual myself, like the pressure to perform, tells me we're not doing it.
Right, right.
Nearly enough. We have the recipe for the apple pie, but did we make the apple pie? No, it's just been sitting on the counter. I have the journal to do all my gratitude reflections. Am I using it? No, but it's sitting there, right? So we always have the tools, but that, I think, is one of the most powerful ones, is just saying, you know what, I have the right to just not reply or react or respond right now. Let me check in and see how I feel. What is my motivation in how I'm responding? Am I motivated by scarcity or self-interest or status seeking? Or am I motivated by trust and being of service and solution finding and supporting someone? Like, what love, where's my motivation coming from? Because if we're not doing that for ourselves, we're making all kinds of wrong choices.
Yeah, or
Sometimes
certainly
they might work
leaving.
out.
They might work out, but we probably are also leaving, some growth on whatever levels on the table, because we're
Yeah.
just also, to your point of being kind of constantly wrapped in a flow of information, which may be poor quality or
Yeah.
maybe just nothing fresh here, how that can replace, the things that are bubbling up, right? Because we
Yeah.
just kind of lean into whatever's shouting at us at that given moment. And I sort of feel this both in my community, but also in, the organizations that we're working with, or the client conversations or exploratory conversations, or even, that when we pull people together for open discussions, the sort of, I don't feel it, this sort of undertone of, I don't feel that great. And are you also not feeling that great? And like the
Mm-hmm.
need to sort of confirm
Yes,
that
and
this
validate.
isn't
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Something not good about this time. And the 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 awareness that many of us have. I know I personally do, and we've sort of talked about this in our pre-discussion, of, what's that game when you pull the one stick out and then all the balls fall down, or the Jenga sort of,
Yeah. Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the blocks. I do feel like the the connection between what's going on in society and around the world and in Washington and in our cities and in our climate, it's like all of this has become so much more visibly connected in this past year or two, and
Mm-hmm.
especially the last few months, which of course is going to make us as human beings quite likely to be triggered by, which is a safe camp to be in and who's got my
Yeah.
back, and like all of those issues related to, you know, our connections and our ability to collaborate well.
Yeah.
Do you see that as well?
Yeah. I don't think there's any way we can pretend everything isn't connected. I'm sorry. I don't think that my Instagram and scrolling through my Instagram is not connected to how I might show up at work that day, because something in there can sneak in. right? If I'm watching the news, if I have an interaction with somebody out in the world that feels great or feels completely the opposite, it's all connected. The ankle bone is connected to the shin bone, period. Like nothing operates in a vacuum. And I know that we have always have the option of like turning things off and turning away, but we still know it's there.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Still know it's there.
Yeah.
Everything I'm not looking at right now, I am fully aware has like a low buzz over here and it's still buzzing away. Everything I can't handle right now, government wise, or just human to human interaction wise. I think I've never seen in my lifetime, at least, a time where there's just so much me versus you. It's so pronounced, like on a deep level, like deep. I mean, look, the eons and eons of war and conflict and power and all of that. I'm not saying any of this is new, but it's just the way it plays out day to day when I see it, with clients at work. I saw a lady on the plane yesterday. I was traveling and someone accidentally spilled coffee on her and she demanded she be moved, as if the person had intentionally spilled the coffee on her. The plane was full. There was nowhere for her to move. And
Wow.
she demanded she be moved because
Yeah.
apparently the person next to her had ill intentions toward her by accidentally spilling the coffee. And I just thought to myself,
Boy.
where are we that's where we go right now?
Right.
That's where we're going. Is like, you intentionally tried to hurt me.
Yeah. And those sort of, you know, dehumanization maybe of the others around, in those settings where you really don't know the people.
Yeah.
We know people bring some of that posture into the workplace. And I think I'm kind of curious if you're seeing, if you're seeing some of the issues that I've seen relative to people in leadership having patience with the way some of the stuff is showing up with their teams. I know myself, like, I know I lean emotionally, as we think about AI alone with, wow, well, I got through, the internet coming into the workplace and how that really changed things. And probably I sat in denial of the changes, in part because people did a huge presentation saying nothing was changing about the business I was in. So I sort of know better that to not just like go for the party line, trust what I'm seeing a little bit more. But I know I do. I can understand at times why some of the more senior, more mature workers are struggling with, just sort of suck it up and carry on. Does that track
Yeah.
for you? What do
It
you?
does. It does. I mean, the suck it up and some of that's just generational, the Gen Xers, of which I am the late Gen X generation. I still have some of that suck it up and carry on, but I mean, it's all colliding at work, how people feel, their experiences outside of work. I get that we can't bring it. Not can't. I want to correct that. I get that there are appropriate and inappropriate times and places to express certain things and yet sometimes things spill over, and that is because we are human. And for leaders who are seeing that kind of stuff happen, I mean, it's hard for leaders. Like, they're expected to be therapists and a safe space, but also do the delivery and make sure that the business doesn't fail. And I mean, that's a lot to balance. It's a lot to put on a human being without any sort of training or support. Like, you're just supposed to know how to do that, how to deal with someone who's crying their eyes out in your office because of something, while also knowing you've got a huge deadline that's like 36 hours away, and and that this person is responsible for. I mean, that how are you supposed to? No one's born with the ability to balance and navigate through that stuff smoothly. It's going to be clunky and messy. And so I simultaneously feel like, leaders, let's get our act together, but also, leaders, I feel for you. I mean, it's everything all at once.
Right. Ugh, what a great way to head to the closing of our time here together. Everything all
Yeah.
at once. That I'm gonna go rewatch that movie.
Everything. What is it? Everything all together, all
Yeah, I
something
don't
like
know.
that. Yeah.
I'll go
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
So before we sort of wrap things up, if you had one piece of advice to give to a senior leader that is dealing with maybe a multi-generational team, or just, a set of people that this is just really strange road. They didn't live during the big financial crisis, or the influence of the internet coming online. What's the one thing you advise everybody to take a look at if they're in that position?
Yeah, I think we need to take a look inward. I can't advise you to do anything better or different with your people if we're not actually taking a look inward and seeing where we are with things and why we are responding the way we are and what we need in order to feel supported and how we feel about stuff, so that we can then be authentically for other people. Not perfect, not the therapist and the coach and all the things. Just be like as human as you can.
Yeah.
And know that it will be clunky and a deadline may get missed and nothing's going to fall. most
Right.
most things don't crumble because of a missed deadline. Like you have to really try hard to get a company to fail. And yet I think that's where a lot of leaders walk around thinking is, if I don't do this one thing and check this box, we will fail. No, we won't. We'll just do it tomorrow.
Right. Great note. So for anyone who has left us comments, we will respond after the show wraps, and appreciate everyone who does leave us comments and comes in live. And of course, I totally appreciate your time, Zovig. It's always
thank you.
I always feel like I need 5 times more of the time to talk to you to get through all the things I want to ask you about. So I know that we'll do this again. I do want to remind people that if they want to learn about what we're doing at Statterman Strategic Advisory, to head over to statterman.com. Zovig's bio and information is over there too, because she's, of course, one of our critical resource team members, faculty members, who helps us work on, repairing some of the things that we sort of did a little pop on here today. I would say my big reminder for everybody is to really take a hard look at the playbook you're using, and recognize if it's the same as last year, it is definitely out of date. Nobody has lived and led in a time like we're in right now, because we probably had times that were pretty disruptive, but none of those people are in the workforce who had that experience. They're long retired or probably dead. So if you feel like you don't know how to navigate, it's because it's new, even if you're very seasoned. So one of the things that I'll also leave you with is we're going to have a discussion, an open discussion. This is a structure we try to do every month, an executive forum. It's virtual. It's next Tuesday. It's at 12:30. We have, I think, about 27 people who are already planning to come. The topic is going to unpack a little bit of what we started to get into today. And it's to help people think about how they might need to identify the deep rules of their organization or the industry, and certainly at least understand which are the ones that are destructive for this particular time. They might have been perfectly fine rules of the past, but maybe not now. So if you want to get an invitation to that, Zovig, I'm sure this is on your calendar, and we'll look forward to having you there to add some of your flair and color, and definitely the color. I always love your color, inspiring. Please send me an email at rules.com. Statterman.com is where you can get more info about us. And with that, I will do my, DJ best job of sending us out.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Zovig.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care, everybody.